Welcome to lunch. We're on Lamentations. How alone she sits, the city once great with people. Like a widow she has become, one great among the nations. A princess among provinces has become a slave. She weeps bitterly at night, and her tears are upon her cheeks. Among all her lovers there is no comfort for her. All her friends have betrayed her. They have become her enemies. Yehuda has gone into exile. Because of affliction she has become of harsh labor. She has dwelt among nations. She has found no rest. All her pursuers have overtaken her between narrow places. The ways to Sion mourn, for no one comes to the appointed times. All her gates are deserted. Her priests sigh, her maidens are afflicted, and she has bitterness. Her adversaries have become chief, her enemies have become at ease, for Jehovah has afflicted her. Because of her many transgressions, her children have gone into captivity before the enemy. And all the splendor has departed from the daughter of Sion. Her rulers have become like buck, they have found no pasture, and they go powerless before the pursuer. In the days of her affliction and wandering, Yerushalayim remembered all her precious matters she had in the days of old. When her people fell into the hand of the enemy, with no one to help her, the adversaries saw her. They mocked her at her destruction. Yerushalayim has sinned greatly, therefore she has become defiled. All who esteemed her despised her, because they have seen her nakedness. She herself has sighed and turned away. Her uncleanness is in her skirts. She did not keep in mind her latter end, and she has gone down appallingly. There was no one to comfort her. See, O Jehovah, my affliction, for the enemy has made herself great. The adversary has spread his hand over all her precious matters. Indeed, she has seen. The nations have entered her set-apart place, those whom you commanded not to enter your assembly. All her people are sighing, seeking bread. They have given their precious matters for food to bring back. See, O Jehovah, and look, for I have become despised. Is it not to you, all you who pass by? Look and see if there is any pain like my pain, which has been brought on me, which Jehovah has inflicted on me, in the day of his burning displeasure. From above he has sent fire into my bones, and it overpowered them. He spread a net for my feet and turned me back. He has laid me waste and faint all the day. The yoke of my transgressions has been bound by his hand. Woven together and thrust upon my neck, he has made my strength stumble. Jehovah has given me into hands which I am unable to withstand. Jehovah has trodden down all my strong men in my midst. He has called an appointed time against me to crush my young men. Jehovah has trodden down as in the winepress. The maiden daughter of Yehuda, this is why I weep. My eye is running down with water, because the Comforter, who could bring back my life, has been far from me. My children are stunned, for the enemy has prevailed. Sion spreads out her hands. There is no comfort for her. Jehovah has commanded concerning Yaakov. His neighbors are his adversaries. Yerushalayim has become an uncleanness among them. Jehovah is righteous, for I rebelled against his mouth. Hear now, all peoples, and see my pain. My maidens and my young men have gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priest and my elders breathed their last in the city, while they sought food to bring back their life. See, O Jehovah, that I am in distress. My inward parts are boiling up. My heart is overturned within me, for I have been very rebellious. From without the sword has bereaved. At home it is like death. They have heard that I sighed, with no one to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my calamity. They have rejoiced that you have done it. You shall bring on the day that you have announced, so let them become like me. Let all their evil come before you, and do to them as you have done to me. For all my transgressions, for my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. How Jehovah, in his displeasure, has covered the daughters of Sion with a cloud. He has cast down from the heaven to the earth the comeliness of Israel, and has not remembered his footstool in the day of his displeasure. Jehovah has swallowed up without compassion all the pastures of Yaakov. In his wrath he has thrown down the strongholds of the daughter of Yehudah. He has brought them down to the ground. He has profaned the reign and its rulers. In the heat of displeasure he has cut off every horn of Israel. He has withdrawn his right hand from before the enemy, and he burns against Yaakov like a flaming fire, consuming all around. He has bent his bow like an enemy. He has set his right hand like an adversary, and he kills all who delighted the eye in the tent of the daughter of Sion. He has poured out his wrath like fire. Jehovah has been like an enemy. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed her strongholds, and he increases mourning and lamentation. In the daughter of Yehudah, he has demolished his booth like a garden. He has destroyed his place of meeting. Jehovah has made the appointed times and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Sion, and despised sovereign and priest in his raging displeasure. Jehovah has cast off his slaughter place. He has rejected his set-apart place. He has delivered the walls of her palaces into the hand of the enemy. They have made a noise in the house of Jehovah, as on the day of an appointed time. Jehovah has planned to destroy the wall of the daughter of Sion, and he has stretched out a line. He has not turned back his hand from destroying, and he has made the rampart and wall to lament. Together they have languished. Her gate have sunk into the ground. He has destroyed and broken her bars. Her sovereign and her rulers are among the nations. The Torah is no more, and her prophets have found no vision from Jehovah. The elders of the daughters of Sion sit on the ground, are silent. They have thrown dust on their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloths. The maidens of Yerushalayim have let their heads hang to the ground. My eyes are spent with tears. My inward parts ferment. My bile has been poured on the ground because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. As children and the infants languish in the streets of the city, they say to their mothers, "Where is grain and wine?" As they languish like the wounded in the streets of the city, as their life is poured out in their mother's bosom. How shall I admonish you? To what shall I compare you, O daughter of Yerushalayim? To what shall I liken you to comfort you, O maiden daughter of Sion? For your breach is as great as the sea. Who shall heal you? Your prophets have seen falsehood and folly for you, and have not shown you your crookedness, to turn back your captivity, but their vision for you are false and misleading messages. All who pass by have clapped their hands at you. They have whistled, and they shake their heads at the daughter of Yerushalayim. Is this the city that is called the perfection of loveliness, the joy of all the earth? All your enemies have opened their mouth against you. They have whistled and they gnash their teeth. They say, "We have swallowed her up. This is certainly the day we waited for. We have found it, we have seen it." Jehovah has done what he planned. He has filled his word, which he commanded in the days of old. He has torn down without compassion. He has let your enemy rejoice over you. He has exalted the horn of your adversaries. Their heart cried out to Jehovah, O wall of the daughter of Sion. Let tears run down like a river day and night. Give yourself no numbness. Let your eyes have no rest. Arise, cry out in the night, at the beginning of the watches. Pour out your heart like water before the face of Jehovah. Lift your hands toward him for the life of your young children who languish from hunger at the head of every street. See, O Jehovah, and look attentively, to whom you have done thus. Should the woman eat their offspring, infants of their handbreadth? Should the priest and prophet be killed in the set-apart place of Jehovah? Young and old lie on the ground in the streets. My maidens and my young men have fallen by the sword. You have killed them in the day of your displeasure. You have slaughtered without compassion. Would you proclaim, as in the day of appointed time, the fears that surround me? And no one escaped or survived in the day of the displeasure of Jehovah. Those whom I have nursed and brought up, my enemy has destroyed.